Hello everyone, welcome again to Willow Talk. Adam Peacock alongside wicketkeeper extraordinaire, Australia captain, Lisa Healy. How are you?
Thank you. That's the nicest welcome I've got.
No, because it's leading somewhere.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like I'm in therapy here.
the other wicketkeeper extraordinaire is just having a extraordinarily tough time of it health-wise this week.
Yeah.
Brad Haddon is on the shred for India. He said he was going to get fit for India. Well, his body's taken over and lost all the weight for him, I think. So he's still not well heels, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate.
No, I think the last episode was our highest rating, so maybe he's gone for good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And we have got a wicketkeeper extraordinaire to fill in for Hads today. He went down the path, though, away from the gloves of taking up bowling. It worked out okay for him. Mitchell Starc, how are you, mate?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me. I thought I'd just, the Hads pose. I've got the branded hat, arms folded. So
No, you got it all covered. Branded hat, arms folded. You're going to ask questions of heels that you know the answer to anyway, but you're just going to ask the question. And also, I'd love to say that fantastic merch you've got on as well. Willow Talk shirt.
Tell everyone the reason.
I'm all about it. I've rocked a hat in the garden, mowing the lawn. I spilt my coffee on my shirt.
Hey, that's why the Willow Talk shirts are black, because it doesn't matter if you spill things on it. You can't really tell.
Yep.
Just need a little wet wipe to get it
I
off.
tried that. I thought I did a good job, but I had a blue shirt on, so
Fits well, mate. Fits well. Hads is, though, popping up on Rugby League podcasts with his Canberra Raiders hat on. So no doubt he's looking forward to Vegas. Maybe that's the truth. He's actually in Vegas.
putting out spot fires.
Maybe you started the brawl.
Inflatable baseball bats. With those two Canberra Raiders. If you're from the southern states or the rest of the world, Google Canberra Raiders Las Vegas and that'll explain everything. But coming up today, we're going to have a quick look at the Champions Trophy because we can sum it up in about 3 seconds. Australia, South Africa. It rained. Moving on. No, we'll have a look at how the scenarios for Group B can finish ahead of the knockout stages. A look at the women's squad ahead of their upcoming tour to New Zealand. Hills, you can tell us the ins and outs there. We'll have a chat to Starkey. It's on the eve of it. We love anniversaries here, Starkey, at Willow Talk. 10-year anniversary of Game of Cricket at Eden Park that will long live in the memory, or does the final live in the memory longer than this one?
The week after the final.
When your memory came back.
When it came back. It probably doesn't live in Elisa's memory too well. But
What?
The end of the Eden Park game.
no, the week after the final.
Oh, the week after the final. Sorry.
Well, we got engaged, so I guess there's a part of it, but I didn't see him for the week, so.
You got engaged at the final.
No.
Just
Come
Oh,
on,
after the
God,
final.
no.
Yeah,
I would have said no.
the night of the final.
No.
Give
No.
myself an uppercut.
Well, Leighton Hewitt and Beck Cartwright did that. Leighton proposed the night of the Australian Open final in 2005.
Well, that's fine. Just don't do it at the tennis or the cricket. I would have said no.
No, they did it at the after party.
No. He went on a bender for 5 or 6 days, and then we went away on holidays, and he proposed. So I was really mad, but I had to say yes.
See, who said benders are bad things? They give you great clarity, don't they? They just go, yep.
Oh, I didn't make the decision then. I was pretty locked in before then.
Yeah.
But no, it all worked out for the betterment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We won't talk about the last 10 years in that sense. We'll talk about what
How did
happened
we get there?
in this cricket, well, anniversaries and things like that. And we fired it out to the Secret Cricket Club on Instagram, our little side hustle there on Instagram about when we get a guest, we say, send us some questions. We seriously got about 300 questions, Starkey. So
I sent 298 of them.
we
So
built.
can't wait.
Are the lawns mowed?
Yeah.
No. How's Steve the Snake going?
Did you take the rubbish out?
And we've got sundries. Steve Smith is heading to play cricket in Wales for the 100. A quick reminder to get in touch with us here on social media. Follow us along on TikTok, Instagram, Willow Talk Podcast, and subscribe to YouTube at Listener Sport. Hello to everyone if you're watching on YouTube and enjoying the show via that way. Correspondence from Instagram, Ryan James. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? If next summer when the English men come out to do so, the English women...
Go again.
Well, if next summer, when the English men come out, so do the English women, we have 5 tests played by the men, 5 by the women. You could then go, men play a test, and while they are recovering, the women play their test and will give us something to watch for 10 weeks continuously. He's gone into the scheduling department of Cricket Australia here, has Ryan James. Then we could go back to 1 days and finish off with a double-header T20. Australia would win everything. Imagine the bragging rights. Thoughts there? 5 tests back-to-back?
I'd like to start with 3.
Okay.
I don't want to put ceilings on us, but maybe 3 intertwined with the men's 5. That'd be cool. But then bring the white ball formats together. That would be fun.
Yeah.
I'd really like the boys to at least maybe at the Ashes because there's real sentiment there, but start playing some multi-format series against sides. I think that they'd actually really enjoy it.
The point system that you guys
it's
do.
good fun.
Starkey, you open to that?
Could you have I've got a side bar here.
Here we go.
We'll put it on the Instagram.
You've literally
Yeah.
gone straight into Hads mode and asking a question in relation to trying to answer a question.
Well, I just want to expand on Ryan's correspondence. Well, you still play for your individual Ashes trophies, but then you have a combined point system. So
Yeah.
like
Ooh.
yeah,
Well, we've got a head start for you. Good luck.
yeah. So
16-0.
we could
Don't
win-
stuff it up.
Unassailable.
You can't have 5 points or whatever. Just so Australia could win 10-0.
Yeah.
5 tests, or
Right,
5-3.
combine the 2.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like it.
for a combined trophy.
Tell you what I do like is the double-headed T20.
Yeah.
Well, they used to do
Bring
it
it
back in the
back.
day. There's no reason you can't now.
Absolutely.
Bring it back.
They're doing 100.
There you go. Leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Let's try and get to 250. A reminder, we're on 243, so creeping up. 243. Want to get to 250 before the end of the Champions Trophy. Robbie Stevenson said 5 stars, a great podcast, a great listen, and the only cricket podcast you need to listen to. Adam does a cracking job hosting. Thanks, Robbie. Whilst Had's insights are invaluable from a fellow 2620.
Thanks, Robbie.
2620 must be the postcode of his
Of his compound.
leafy little suburb.
I thought he was the
that
only
is.
house in it.
If you're keen to send us your club cricket hats in, all of the details are in the episode descriptions, and you never know, we might be wearing your club hat in the next episode. As Starkey is, he's wearing the GWS Giants cricket club hat today. So,
They play old boys v young boys.
any hope this season, by the way, on the eve of the AFL footy season?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just locked in a couple more players.
Mhm.
Finn, the young fella, signed for knocked back the big cash at Saints. Just locked back in Connor Iden. Looking good.
So you're in the on the GWS train as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. 1 in all in our household.
Yeah. I find her following of football teams interesting that she's from New South Wales but follows Queensland in origin.
Oh, we
3
don't
days
need
a
to
year.
bring this up every episode,
I'm
Adam.
happy to talk about it.
Every episode.
Champ-
Champ-
happy last year.
Champions Trophy. We were all looking forward on, when was it? Tuesday evening to sit down and have a watch of it. And then it rained. And rained a lot.
Yeah.
And the game was off. Australia doesn't have a great record when it comes to rain and Champions Trophy. So what does this do to the permutations and what it means for the rest of this little tournament that we're involved in?
I don't know if it's good or bad.
Hmm.
Because it's so quick. Well, you've only got 3 games to make it through the next round. I think it leaves the door open a little bit in that side of that group. So, yeah, I'm sure Australia would have been keen to get on and lock in a win and lock in a semi-final spot, but kind of leaves the door open with obviously Afghanistan and England in the rest of the group with a couple of games to go.
Yeah, as we sit here now, all the games haven't been played. Obviously, the Wednesday evening fixture as well, Heels. But, yeah, real bummer. Not so much of the result, but I was actually looking forward to seeing these two teams go head-to-head, given the firepower that we've explained in our preview podcast of South Africa as well.
Yeah, well, I spoke about those 2 teams going through. So I wanted to see that. I wanted Aidan Markram to make 100 because I backed him to be player of the tournament. So it's let me down a lot, the rain in Pakistan, which I didn't know that really happened that often.
No, I didn't either. I was
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah. But you're right. It does leave the door slightly ajar, but it also leaves England in a precarious position where they've got to win their last 2 games. I mean, you kind of got to win every game anyway, don't get me wrong, but Afghanistan might bounce back. They're a tricky little side, but then it makes, the last game, England-South Africa, a real belter as well. So if Australia do all the right things from here on in, they'll be sweet. But, yeah, it makes every game really important, which I love.
I'm sure you're appreciating the freshen up after 7 tests in how many weeks was it? About 6, 7, whatever like that. So the watching on, I mean, the squad composition is, especially with you pacemen with the feet up, watching these guys go about their business. I mean, what do you make of that balance that they've got with that squad? Where I've only got 1 game to go off so far. But
Yeah, obviously they had the 2 games in Sri Lanka, which didn't go according to plan. Obviously trying a few things there and a few different combinations. But I think has been the way in Australian teams, men and women in ICC events, players just step up. They love tournament play. We obviously saw Josh Inglis in Sri Lanka in the Test series played so well, and he's carried that on to the other night in the first game against England to knock off his home country into his new home country. But yeah, it's a pretty well-rounded squad. Obviously, a little less experience in the bowling attack than the last few years, but guys that have all played for Australia, good wicket takers, played a lot of white ball cricket through the Big Bash and through domestic cricket. So yeah, I think they've got all bases covered. Win the next game and on to the next round.
On that, Afghanistan. So what's key in the conditions that they'll play on, presuming the rain does stay away? Can't imagine. It can't rain twice in a row in Pakistan, can it?
Maybe it's just like a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to get all these messages, though, saying, oh, no, it's monsoon season over there.
Probably.
So, yeah. That's, with Afghanistan in the conditions, how would you approach the balance of the team and how you go about it bowling-wise? Because it looks like they're pretty good decks to bat on.
Yeah, well, that game's going to be back in Lahore where they played England. So they'll know, obviously, what to expect from playing that England game. Obviously, there was a bit made about the dew. Ben Duckett thought the conditions were completely different from first innings to second. So, yeah.
Someone gave it to him as well for going too slow at the start of his innings.
Herschel
Gibbs. Ben Duckett lost the game for England because he batted too slow after he just made 160 off 140 rocks. I'm like, settle down, Herschel. They made 350.
I didn't realise, mate, 350 was so hard to make on a flat wicket and got so hard to bowl in the second innings 20 minutes later. So Alex
Carey did say that if they bat first, going back there, they're going to need to potentially make 400 is potentially going to be a pass score to put some pressure on the opposition. So there was some validity to Ben Duckett's statement saying the conditions did change if Australia are now going, we're going to need to make big runs if we lose the toss and have to bat first. So, but yeah, Herschel Gibbs' comment a little bit funny.
The games we've been on so far, I did look at them, that half of them, it's been half-half. It's not like the team that is batting second has won every single game, but it's obviously a factor. What's the biggest issue when you're bowling second in those conditions?
I'd say bowlers might not practice that enough. I remember times where whether it's IPL or we're in the subcontinent where we know it's going to be dewy, you might be dunking balls in buckets of water to get used to trying to hold on to a wet ball
really?
And that sort of thing. Yeah, 100%. So maybe it's that side of it. Obviously, when the wickets start flat, which they have done so far this tournament, and you get that light layer of dew on the wicket, the ball's going to come on a bit better and be really nice for batting. Ball's going to fly off around the boundary. There's that gripping the ball factor that comes into play. I don't bowl spin, but spinners might find it difficult to hold on to the ball. So there's a number of reasons, but yeah, whether it's scoring more in the first innings or just being a little bit better with the ball, you've got to find a way.
I've been saying that all along, in that I wonder if as more and more these conditions are going to become more normal around the world, that the dew comes in, there's more day-night fixtures in whatever format you play, teams have got to start to adapt to that and know that as soon as the coin comes down, it hasn't gone your way and you're batting first, you got to find a way to win regardless of the conditions. And if they are going to be better batting second, how do you find a way to win? Use the dew to your advantage, get the ball nice and wet, make it hard to hit, find out ways to execute better with it, whatever it might be. And I feel like it's now coming to the fore in this tournament that teams are going to have to get better at adapting to that.
We talked about with Heels early in the week about Alex Carey, who, I mean, if not for a conversation with Kevin Sheedy, AFL coach, over a coffee that Alex wasn't expecting, he might have been wearing the whole uniform of the GWS Giants because he was in their development squad when they came into the AFL. So on reflection, that catch, probably when you take that into account, wasn't such a surprise. But were you still gobsmacked by it?
Yeah, well, Lisa asked me if I've seen Alex do any fielding practice apart from wearing the gloves. So he's a proper athlete. I mean, he apparently didn't have a big enough engine for AFL footy or something like that. So
still runs one of the quickest 2Ks in the country, but that's okay.
Yeah, we've taken him with both hands in the cricket world. But
do you still do 2K time trials as cricketers?
I don't know, 35 probably not. But
when you hit 34, it's down to one a year. It's because you're more likely to get injured than anything else.
What are you going to run 2Ks in a row for on a cricket field?
I couldn't agree more, Adam.
We keep having that question. We pose that question a lot, and we just get told, shut up and run. So
why don't you run, maybe run 5?
As I've gotten older, I've become the rabbit. So I'm sent out first because I'm the slowest, one of the slowest. And I'm happy to admit that. I don't want to do it. Yeah, so I'm the rabbit. So all the young kids have got to chase me. They leave like a minute and a half after me, and if they catch me by the end, they know they've run a PB. So
Okay.
I've got to stay out ahead of all the young kids.
I thought you were like in the Diamond League where you send out the first 2 laps and then you peel off after the first 2 laps. And
You know the little rabbit that the greyhounds
Yeah.
chase? That's me out in front. I got to make sure I finish
The
first.
greyhounds don't normally catch the rabbit.
No, that's what I mean. I've got to stay out in front, but I get caught.
when I say run 5, I don't mean run 5Ks. I mean run 5 singles.
No, I know, but
Back to back.
no one does that either.
They do a run
Yeah.
of 2 test, which is probably as close to cricket specific as we get.
Do that.
Yeah, they do that as well as a 2K.
Adam, we do that too.
Yeah. But back to back. Maybe do
It's
it
all
10
about
times in a
effort,
row.
mate.
It's like a 2K time trial. Like, I don't get it. I do not get it. It's like seeing John Daly, the golfer, in the gym. It's like, okay, what's it going to change? What's it going to do? Nothing.
You see him at the bar, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we just crop that whole clip of you saying all of that,
Yeah.
and I'll send it through
Okay.
to where it needs to
No
go?
worries.
That won't change.
No.
They won't have a bar of it. By the way, New Zealand, producer Joel's got this in the rundown about 8 times, actually. Why is it in bold? Why is it in twice as large as everything else? New Zealand defeated by Bangladesh by 5 wickets. Ravindra 112. Kane Williamson, 1 against Pakistan, 4 against Bangladesh. So he's due.
Yeah, he's due.
That's not Kane Williamson out of form. That's good luck next team who plays him. New Zealand and India are through to the semis already, playing for first spot in that group Sunday night. Doesn't really matter.
Well,
given
we
how
know
the draw's
who
done.
finished first
Yeah.
because
Doesn't
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
New Zealand will stay in Pakistan and India will stay in Dubai, so that doesn't matter.
Do you want to go there, Starkey, with any comments about how the draw's done, or just leave it to Pat and he can
I
cop
thought
the...
Pat said it beautifully. So Jonathan Agnew.
You can keep shouldering arms to it, or you can play a shot further if you want. No, I don't. RIP mentions if you go down that path a bit further. So see how that goes. Group B, Australia and South Africa are on 3 points. England playing Afghanistan Wednesday night for an elimination game. So as we sit here right now, we don't know the result of that. If England win, then go on to beat South Africa, they go through. If Afghanistan win and beat South Africa, they go through. If Australia beats Afghanistan and South Africa beat England, they're both through. Make sense?
I'm confused, but just win. Just win all your games and you're through. I think that's what the gist is.
Yeah, exactly. Women's squad named to play New Zealand. Hills, what are the main takeouts from this, from your eyes? Because to me, it looks like a pretty, well, dare I say it, shit-hot squad again.
I'm surprised to read that I'm not in it,
Yeah,
but
I was going to get to that.
Tali McGrath, captain. Hang on a minute.
Have they called?
Remarkable. No, it's that is actually a really good squad. Obviously, I'm not there. I've been ruled out of cricket for the rest of the summer, just in case you haven't heard the news. But Nicole Fulton been rewarded for a really decent summer, in particular in the WBBL. She moved back to the Renegades and made a ton of runs and is really solid behind the stumps. So she's a great addition to get around the group, spend a little time with the Aussie squad and obviously be a backup for Moons with the gloves if need be. But obviously, New Zealand coming off the T20 World Cup win, they're down a lot of their big dogs. However, Amelia Kerr staying at the WPL, Sophie Devine on a break still from cricket. A few of their pace bowlers are out of the series as well. So it'll be a really interesting contest, but a really strong squad and 3 games in really quick succession over there.
Amelia Kerr, so she plays in this series because there's been a story around that, she's trying to balance WPL commitments and Kiwi commitments.
Yeah, well, obviously... she'll be back for this series against us. Decided to stay in the WPL for they have a Sri Lankan series just before they play against us. It's got ODIs and T20s. Chamari Adapadu will come back from WPL as a Sri Lankan captain to captain that side, but Amelia Kerr will stay there. Obviously, difficult decision. She wants to obviously play for her country, but at the same time, obviously under a heap of pressure there from Mumbai to stay and be a part of a championship win over there as well. So, but we'll be back. Strong squad from our regard, but obviously the Kiwis are down a few players, a few big dogs, but it should be a good fun series to watch.
So the Amelia Kerr one, is that something that women's cricket needs to be very, very careful with?
Well, New Zealand have always sort of played a little bit of an interesting response to that scenario in that the girls aren't paid a hell of a lot of money in New Zealand, and to play international cricket is, it's still not a heap of money. So Amelia's obviously on quite a fair bit of money for Mumbai over there, doing amazing things over there. So I don't think it's necessarily her choice, but I think it's put in the balls in her court a little bit to go, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, well, obviously got a heap of pressure on her from a Mumbai perspective to stay and take part in the WPL. Chamari Adapadu, on the other hand, Sri Lankan skipper, coming back for that series to play in against them. That series is just before we play them. So it's an interesting one at the moment, but I guess it's up to the players. And I mean, you look at where they're making bulk of their money at the moment, it's in franchise cricket, which is a bit sad.
I feel it's a generational thing that anyone over a certain age will look at it and go, how can you put anything over your country? Whereas new age thinking of cricket, and we talked the other day about these kids coming through who literally, when they were 6 years old, they were turning on and watching Big Bash. So it's all changed, the mentality. I think under a certain age, it's fill up. Yeah. You have to. This is going to buy your house. This is going to buy things for your family. This is going to set yourself up for post-career.
Yeah, it's a hard argument at the moment, especially in the women's game, because you're right. There isn't quite the amount of money that there is in the men's game, and the franchise game still in the men's is astronomical compared to international cricket, and there's no way you can keep them in that. But it's even greater in our game at the moment. So yeah, I know Amelia quite well, and I know that she would want to be playing for New Zealand, but at the moment, where she is in her life and her career and her trajectory, or wherever she wants to take her life post-cricket, why wouldn't you be in India making as much money as you can so that you can set yourself up for the rest of your life, knowing that women's cricket doesn't pay a whole heap?
I hear it in the men's game as well, Starc, all around the world, not just here in Australia. It's, oh, well, he's going to be right for the IPL. Like, look at Bumrah. I wonder if he's getting right for the IPL. That's in India, it's happening around the world. How do you players feel about such sentiment that floats around?
I'd say on par with your comment there about it's a bit of a generational thing, and I'm on the older side of things. And you look at someone like Jake Fraser McGurk, who's just been retained for 1.9, right? He's come in. He's a younger guy who's watched T20 cricket all the time. He's still got aspirations to play Test cricket, but he's come off the back of someone like Davey Warner, who's exploded onto the scene in white ball cricket. He's played all three formats, but Jake's getting a good run at white ball cricket and franchise cricket. He's played in the ILT20. The other end of it is you get some guys that have tried to play for Australia for a while, and they're now T20 only players, and they've knocked back either state contracts or international contracts to go and play franchise cricket. Get some of the New Zealand guys on the same argument as Elisa made with Amelia there, where they're not as fortunate as, you know, Australian contracts or England contracts. And you get guys like Trent Bolt who've played 3 formats for New Zealand for over 10 years, and now he's had an opportunity to play franchise cricket for pretty much all of Mumbai's teams and make probably more money than he had earned for New Zealand. So I don't think you can begrudge anyone for what they want to do. We're at the point now where kids or certain players are going to aspire to do different things, whether it's play for one franchise in 4 different leagues or whether it's to pull on a baggy green for the women's team or the men's team. It's not for me to say which is right or wrong.
When you think about it, cricket's one of the only real sports that there seems to be a problem. Like, in a lot of other sports, and I'm thinking globally in some of the biggest sports in the world, playing for your country is less important than playing for your club. You think about basketball, you think about like baseball, ice hockey, like...
Basketball do it really well. They have really defined windows. They never encroach on the NBA season. Football is weird because it's like little bits and pieces of international stuff before, but clubs hate it.
Yep.
Absolutely. They're paying guys $500,000 a week, and then they trot off and pick up I think it happened with Erdegaard, who plays for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Picks up an ankle injury playing for Norway in some ridiculous friendly.
Yeah.
And Arsenal are without their best player for 3 months. So it's going to hit cricket between the face more in the next 10 years.
It's just, and you're right, it's working out what's important in the international game and what's not. And, you know, players might have different opinions on what's important to them. And that baggy green might still be important, but, you know, for 85% of the guys playing domestic cricket at the moment, it might not be. It might be, I want to be the best white ball player in the world, and I'm going to go play the leagues and do all that instead. So I think as fans of the game, we need to wrap our head around that priorities are changing, and it's not about the money. I think that's the most important point. It's not always about the money that they're throwing at you. It's actually opportunities to go play around the world, different conditions. If I wait 5 years or 6 years to try and get a spot in the Australian team. I'm missing out on 5 or 6 years of playing cricket right around the world and showcasing what I can do. So it's not always about the financial reward. It's actually about opportunity to go and play more of the game you love.
And Mitch, it's come along at the right time, this explosion, right at the end of your international career, and you can stop. And I look forward to seeing you bowl for the Texas Texans when you're 45 years of age in Major League Cricket.
Why not?
No, we're going to Vegas.
Are you going to Vegas?
What, LeBron's buying that NBA team, isn't he? You got the Vegas Knights there.
The Golden Knights are my NHL team, so I'd like to go to the Vegas team. Surely there'll be a cricket team in Vegas.
Hey. Sounds like a good idea. Wonder if they need a media manager. We're off to a quick drinks break here. And by the way, those 3 T20s against New Zealand, March 21, 23, 26. So the squad named with plenty of time to prepare to take on New Zealand. So looking forward to that. Drinks break. Back in a moment with your questions. Secret Cricket Club and sundries. Welcome back to Willow Talk. Lisa Healy alongside me, Adam Peacock, and Mitch Starc in the studio. Who drove, by the way?
Both.
Both?
I came from training.
No carpool? Okay. Different parts of Sydney. Fair enough. Mitchell, you were ruled out.
Very, very formal, Mitch.
Yeah, Mitchell, Starkey. Anything that
you there
is of you. Sorry. That sounds like you've done that before.
Wow.
You're not playing in the Champions Trophy. Personal reasons.
Yeah, what are these reasons?
What are these reasons? We were trying to work it out.
I'm all good. Thanks for your messages.
Not pregnant?
No, not this stage.
It would be news if you are. Let me tell you.
Not that I'm aware of. There's a few different reasons. Some personal views. Needing to get my ankle. I had a bit of ankle pain through the Test series, so just get that one right. For obviously we got the Test final coming up, and then a West Indies tour after that. There's some IPL cricket as well, but main one, the top of my mind is the Test final. So, get my body right, play some cricket in the next couple of months, and then ready to go for the Test final. Yeah,
that World Test Championship, so it's a new concept. I think all the cricketers seem to appreciate the fact that you're playing for there's no dead rubbers when it comes to playing Test cricket until you actually qualify, and then there's dead rubbers, and you go over to Sri Lanka in those 2 dead rubbers and do that to them. But with where it's put, like in the list of priorities, it looks like it's quickly established itself as a big priority.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at, obviously this is the third rotation, third cycle. The
Iteration.
first one being a new concept, I remember definitely myself, I was like, what's this all about? Like, it doesn't mean much. We're trying to win every Test match, every Test series. So I remember, thinking back at that and going, doesn't really mean much. And then we got close to it and we missed out. And watching it on the TV, we wanted to be a part of it. So that quickly changed. And then the second cycle, obviously we made the final, and obviously playing India on neutral territory, that was a big occasion for both teams. Managed to get the chocolates that time. And now we find ourselves sitting in a chance to win it for the second time on the trot. And I think it's I think the format needs some tinkering still. I think it's a very hard one to fix, I guess, when you only play you play 6 series that contribute to the point system. It's you get the same points for home and away wins, so it's a percentage-based model. So it's an imperfect system, but I think 2 really good teams going to be facing off in the final.
Over-rates play a part as well.
Yeah.
England got docked 22 points for over-rates.
That's a shame.
But Hills, how do you view it?
Oh, I like it. I mean, I just laughed that he's like, it's an imperfect system, says the guy who's been in the last 2 finals of it. Like, oh yeah, it's a really terrible system as we're heading the top of it. But
played some good cricket, haven't we?
No, I like it. I think you're right. I think it's brought some context back to Test cricket. I think it's going to encourage more teams to want to play against one another too. I mean, there was a lot of commentary about how South Africa have made the final, but I mean, they're not necessarily in control of the schedule that they get given and the sides that they're playing against. But all of a sudden, the big dogs that we perceive as such in the world game might stick their hand up and go, we want to play against South Africa. We want to play some different sides all of a sudden. So I think it's going to force some change in that regard. And I love that there's a final. I'd love to see it potentially go to like a 3-match series, but fitting that in the schedule, God knows it's never going to happen. But Well, just like a bit of a fairer contest. I mean, I know that it's a one-off game, and you haven't played against South Africa for how long?
But I like that it's a one-off on neutral territory. I know it's not
So
always
you
going to
think
be.
that it counteracts
I'm
like
not-
the sense of a 3-match series?
I know it's not always going to be neutral territory.
Right.
But the fact that I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Cool. Anyway,
Sorry.
as a fan, I'd love to see it go to like 3, so that you're kind of seeing the progression over time, but then over a series, I should say. But I get where you're coming from. But at the same time, fitting that in the schedule is an absolute nightmare. So 1 at the moment's good.
So we'll play a three match
Do you
series
think
in the
the
one-day World
final-
Cup final.
Will the final ever move from where it's currently being held?
This next one's the only one that's been locked in past this cycle. The
Right.
next final hasn't been locked in yet.
Okay.
So yeah, these 3 have all been played in England. I think it's hard too, because if you're going to lock it in that time of year, where else can you play? Probably not going to play in India because you're coming straight over IPL cricket. Nothing's going to be available, or it's monsoon season, isn't it? So you could get washed out. Then what happens?
Can't play in the Middle East because it's 800 degrees.
Yep.
Can't play down here unless you're
Footy
playing
season,
Darwin.
yeah. Or yeah.
But imagine they move it to India, and let's say Australia v New Zealand for the World Test Championship in India.
Yeah.
But I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, which would also be why it'd be great for a one-off series, because you're like, who's going to adapt the quickest? If you go 3 matches, obviously it's going to be a great contest, no matter who plays it. But especially if it's 2 foreign teams in India, let's see who can play spin the best, or who's got the best spinners.
over 3 games.
Yeah.
I'm picking up some advice here to take home with me. You had a differing opinion, and you just displayed each other's opinion so nicely and so well and so calmly. This was my household, I'd be out of the room by now. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I've thrown my thong at him over the table, but yeah.
Bruised on my shins.
Yeah. Well, actually, to be fair, this is as much cricket as we've spoken for a while. So
Yeah.
it's quite good.
No cricket.
Yeah,
No
we don't
cricket
talk
at
about
home.
it at home.
Golf swings.
Golf swings. Sri Lanka, how satisfying was that to go over there and do that in those conditions, and a couple of new boys into the squad as well?
Yeah, it was. It was what's our first win in Asian conditions for a long time. So yeah, it was a bit of a different group. We had obviously some debutantes. We had sort of a clear plan of how we wanted to prepare for the series, and then to play the way we did, I think was exactly pretty well how we drew it up, I guess. So yeah, very satisfying to go to a place where that was my 3rd tour to Sri Lanka. We haven't won there since I played there, so it was nice to win a series in Asian conditions. Means we still hang on to all the test trophies, which is great. We had some guys who are new to conditions there that perform really well. We had guys that have played a lot there perform really well, and a great way to finish off our test summer.
So you said you were really happy with your preparations leading in. So will you share your advice to the England team about how you did your golf trip well to prepare to then go to Asian conditions and win?
Sure. I didn't actually join the golf trip, so maybe that was my downfall. I could have taken more wickets if I joined the golf trip early.
Seems like you've got that model down pat, whereas England do theirs but then don't win. So they've got to flip that narrative so that they don't get rubbish for their golf trip too.
Well, they got who was it? KP got into them for not training. We actually trained, so we were training around our golf. We had plenty of golf rounds, but probably an equal number of training sessions, and said training sessions still went for 5 or 6 hours. So,
and you drive carts, don't you? It's not like you're walking 8Ks.
I didn't play this time around. I took an extra couple of days at home
to play golf.
I think I did actually play around the golf.
To mow the lawns, Adam.
Yeah, I was definitely a mower. Yeah, I'm not sure they're walking too much in Dubai.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Absolutely. But yeah, what about Connolly and Inglis songs? What do they come up with post initiation
Be
wise?
careful here because I'll be giving away too much.
Okay.
I think actually McSweeney let the cat out of the bag anyway. That was a fairly new tradition. So, Inglis, who's now a very much a welcomed Aussie, the songmaster Nathan Lyon thought that Josh brought out his old English roots for this occasion because he refused to sing a song.
Oh.
much to the dissatisfaction of Nathan and a few other people. So
Ooh.
Josh declined.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Wasn't
Peer
wasn't
pressure
into it.
overrated.
So no, he didn't sing. And what did Cooper sing? That's a great question.
Could have
Kendrick
been.
Lamar.
It was obviously middle of the road because if it was horrible, you'd remember it straight away. If it was very good, you'd
I actually
remember it
can't
straight
remember.
away.
He did sing though.
Cool, good
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah, he did sing.
Glad I asked.
Thanks for that insight.
Yeah, fantastic.
I mean, I was on the physio table for both times that the boys came in to
Oh yeah.
select their baggy greens, and Josh took a good half an hour at least, back and forth in front of a mirror, just seeing which one fit the best, which brand fit the best.
You actually select them.
There's different sizes.
Yeah,
Ah.
you got to pick
Yeah.
one for the size of your melon.
Yeah,
No.
true.
Yeah.
They used to be made by Albion, which there was a couple of old ones left, and then the new ones are all Kookaburra, so there was a bunch of new ones.
Ah, they've changed. When did that change?
Yeah,
Well,
not too
Albion
long ago.
went under, didn't they?
Oh,
Mm.
So, yeah, they had to change
So,
manufacturer.
once again, glad I brought it up.
So Josh took a long time. Coops went in, took one of the Kookaburras, one of the Albions, put them on one each, and said, "I'll have that one done."
There you go. Sounds like Josh has got a little bit of head noise.
He scored 100.
Yeah, well, he scored 100, and then he's done what he's done in the first game in the Champions Trophy. Can't say too many bad things about him, but he does still have a bit of an English accent, so we've got to get that.
He's from the north.
Maybe that's the first thing that needs to happen with
I
Josh
don't think
before he
it'll
starts
ever
singing a
leave.
song. Yeah,
Yeah.
The northern accent's hard to.
Yeah.
hard to shake.
Obviously.
Absolutely hard to shake.
Mm.
Jackson Bird said earlier this week on Willow Talk, the challenge for the next crop of quicks is, okay, you can bowl, but can you bowl back-to-back, like backup tests? I'm sure it wasn't overly enjoyable for you in between tests or the 2 days after each test of this summer because it was pretty hot conditions and pretty tough going on some days as well. How long does it take for a developing quick for the body to become battle-hardened?
That's a hard one to answer. I think everyone's bodies develop or harden or change different paces or different loads. Someone like Paddy, who started so young and then had a big gap where his body sort of let him down a bit, and now he doesn't miss test matches apart from when Becky's having the second child. But yeah, I think from a personal point of view, I think you find the more you play, the longer you go, the more you back up, you find the difference between good pain, bad pain, pain that's going to stop you, pain that you can bowl through, and work out ways to compartmentalize all that and just get on with the job. End of the series are probably hard work because the body knows it doesn't have to back up in 2 days' time, so everything hits you a little harder. And we find that sort of sometimes after a Sydney Test match, after 5 tests, guys might catch a cold or things will hurt a bit more because the body knows it's got time to let everything feel everything.
Well, adrenaline goes.
Yeah.
So adrenaline covers a lot of things. So
yeah, in short, there's no blanket rule for when guys are ready to go, 5 tests in a row. Or it's always going to hurt to some degree. Bowling's not that much fun on the body, but you just find ways to get through things or adapt, or otherwise you find yourself out the other end.
Same for keepers, in a way.
We're all stubborn.
Yeah.
Bowlers
Yes.
and
Oh,
keepers.
no,
are
I was
very
going to
similar.
say, he's still a
No,
keeper.
The batters have got it easy.
Yeah.
Don't worry
No,
about it.
we all know that.
I think the only thing I relate to in that chat is about what's good pain, what's bad pain, and what pain do you think that you can push through. And obviously you get all your medical advice as to what further damage you could potentially do. But it's about what pain do you know that you can play through to get the job done, basically. So, yeah, keepers are pretty similar. There's soft ones out there, but most of us are pretty hard, very stubborn.
You don't go very far as a soft fast bowler.
No.
No.
I've been labelled soft, so I'm going all right.
You battle hardened now. Yeah.
Apparently.
Finally got there.
Yeah.
IPL. Stubbs, Brook, Fraser McGurk with you at Delhi. So is it fair to say that there's a chance that one night you could be defending 300 as you charge into bowl, and one night you could be defending 52 as you come into bowl?
Yeah, I guess so.
You're hoping for the former, not the latter, obviously, but yeah, exciting lineup.
Especially when you've got 12 players in every team now. When the impact player or whatever they bloody call it. So
That might start being you.
can't wait. Imagine rocking up to India. We'll have to take his bowling spikes.
Yeah,
I
bowl
can't
4
wait.
overs, sit down.
No fielding.
Don't worry about excess luggage. I'd take my golf clubs and a pair of bowling shoes. Happy days.
Unfortunately for you, mate, though, that you can hit a ball
I
a
used
long
to.
way. So that one over mid-wicket is still in operation, I think. So I think you're going to be still needed with the bat.
Maybe. But yeah, well, geez, 300 is not that far away, is it? So, I mean, last year when you look at Trav and Abhishek at Sunrisers, I think at one point they scored 160 off 10 overs or something at the start of the game. So, there's one game I didn't actually play, thankfully, against Punjab, and they chased down 260 or something like that. Pretty easy at Eden Gardens. So, yeah, with that lineup, Rooster, I don't know if I've got the energy for 9 weeks with Rooster, but but yeah, when you got Stubbs and Brooke and Frey and Jake in full flight, the ceiling's the limit. So the sky's the limit, I should say. Yeah, it could be very interesting to watch one way or the other.
With guys like Stubbs and Brooke, obviously you're going to maybe come up against them over the next 12 months in other forms of cricket playing for Australia. How does that go these days with getting on with them, parking it when you're playing against them as opposed to with them?
Oh my God, they're boys.
Yeah?
Adam, they're boys. They rock up, shake hands. How you going, mate? Oh, what's your handicap? And then they talk about golf for half an hour, and then they're all best buddies.
Okay.
Genuinely.
Pretty well.
Yeah. I've summed it up. It's just a boy thing. They're like, oh, remember when you called me shit on the field? That's all right. You're all 4. I'll play with you tomorrow in the golf. Yeah, that's fine. That's genuinely what I feel like happens.
But you still get to the next time when you play them and call them shit when you're out there?
I think there's honestly not much sledging going on these days. It's more, I think you want to beat your mate more than someone you've just met. So the closer you get, like I played with Phil Salt last year, and then we played England in a white ball series in England before the summer started.
September, yeah.
And it was the same thing. It was like, how's your golf going? Because he was going for a golf trip after the series. So we were talking about where he was going to play golf, had a beer with him after the series. He hit me for a few boundaries because they're about 4 meters long, and I think Joshy made him look silly because he couldn't lay bat on it, and I nicked a couple of them off, and everyone was mates, and off we go.
Is it the same in the women's game?
Yeah. It's changed. Like, sadly for me, because I'm the most competitive person on the planet, and I didn't even look at an opposition player like 6 years ago. Now,
6 years, you reckon?
Now franchise 3 years ago. Now franchise cricket's come in. You get to know them all, and you're like, actually, you're decent. Like you're good fun. We'll hang out. And now it's. But I agree. I think you want to beat your mates more than you do your enemies. To an extent, and it's not about like sledging them to such, but it's more competitive. It's more fierce in that regard. But it's just taken all the animosity out of it.
I love how she's just changed so much, because it used to be so much like Hads. Hads was like, wouldn't have a bar of it. Yeah. And so was this one until somewhere around the WBBL season 3 years ago. She's a few Poms and Kiwis have played for the Sixers over the years, and next minute she's friends with all these Kiwis and these Poms, and mid-Ashes she's got Sophie Eccleston sent her a message wanting to catch up for a beer. Who are you?
This.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what did you respond with?
Yeah,
I think you brushed her.
We're 10-0 up. Let's go. No, the best one I heard was in the World Cup in South Africa. All the families were lobbed together in one hospitality suite. And Heather Knight, who we're quite ferocious on the field. We have been quite throughout our whole career, but we sit on some stuff external to the game and get along well, everyone, by the way. But my parents were in there with Heather's partner, and he was asking my mum and dad, oh, are you coming over for the Ashes series? Like, what are you doing, mum and dad? Like, yeah, we'll come. We'll watch all the games. And he said, oh, well, if you need to stay at our house, you can. Oh. And my mum went, I'm not sure that Heather, the captain of England, would be overly stoked with the fact that Elisa Healy's parents are staying in her own house during the Ashes series. So we'll politely decline. Thank you. But, I mean, that's the stage it gets to, right, where it's like, oh, we'll help one another out. But then on the field, it's just as competitive.
Good to hear. Yeah. 2015 World Cup, 10 years ago, as we sit here, guys. Time flies when you're having fun, correct?
We were young back then.
Hey.
I was a lot less grey.
Hey. You were player of the series. What'd you get for it?
Yeah, I was good back then. What did I get for it?
Yeah.
Pat on the back.
Really?
I got a nice watch, actually.
Oh, cool.
The that's back when I think the ICC was sponsored by Hublot. So
Nice.
once you got to the finals, back then it was quarterfinals and semis and the whatnot. So if you were player of the match from quarterfinals onwards, you got to watch. Started at their base range, which was still worth a fair bit. Josh still wears it now, I think. Josh Hazelwood, that is. And then Steve Smith was player of the match in the semi. James Faulkner was player of the match in the final, and I was player of the series. We all got nice watches. I've worn it once, and it's sat in a box.
There you go. Tremendous. Well, it's the 10-year anniversary this week of that famous game at Eden Park where we had no right to get as close as we did, really, because you talk of batters and not doing anything. Well, that day they didn't do much, 151. Trent Bolt.
We noted that Had's top scored.
I was going to
40.
quickly mention that.
We need to mention it
Quickly. 43 in tricky conditions because Trent Bolt was bowling very well for one with a fifer. And then New Zealand looked like they were absolutely going to skate to a victory. And then all hell broke loose. What are your endearing memories of that weird old day in Auckland?
I remember the fact that it's the first and only time that I've taken a dinner break in the middle of an innings.
Because the first one went so
Because
short.
we didn't bat long enough. So we had to bowl straight away. And then I think we took the third wicket and had to take dinner.
Such as ICC TV contracts that you have to take dinner at a certain time, not at the innings break.
So we had to sit there for 40 minutes and think about what was going on.
Yeah, which helped.
We're still a half a chance here.
Yeah.
But no, it was, in all honesty, that's one of the more entertaining games I've been involved in. And I saw Alex Carey said somewhere this week about 400 and that, it's entertaining watching high-scoring games. No, it's not. Some of the best games are those low-scoring, both teams are in it 9 down. They're some of the better games to watch. That's better being part of as a bowler, but that was a very high-scoring World Cup. I think there were a couple of scores over 400. There were batters scoring double tons and 150s, and that was by far the lowest scoring game of the World Cup, I think, and probably the closest of the World Cup.
Why did it turn out that way? I mean, was there something in the deck? I know it's 10 years ago, but because you look at Eden Park and you think, how can you not score 350 on that ground?
It's tiny.
Because it's as big as this room.
Well, that was the first time I'd been in New Zealand. So for me, I hadn't been to the country. First time I'd been at the ground. That it's a rugby stadium, so it's a rectangle. It was like playing on ANZ or whatever it's called now.
A core stadium.
Yeah, core. Where they, at Eden Park, it was about 20 metres straight and the sides were a long hit and the pockets were dark and the crowd fell on top of you, and it's the Kiwis, so when they're up and about, they're up and about.
I'm getting to that. Don't worry.
Yeah. But it's a drop in wicket, so they had no side wickets. It was just the one strip in the middle, lush green grass either side. And I remember at training, because that was our third game. So we played England first, dusted them off, went to Brisbane, and it absolute torrential rain. We were supposed to play Bangladesh, didn't stop raining, called off, and then we meant to have like a week between the games. That's when it was a long tournament. So we were all going to go home, but then we washed out. So everyone flew to New Zealand early. We ended up doing with some of the partners were there. So we ended up going on a winery tour or something like that. And
Can't remember it?
Not just one-on-one.
Yep.
You can remember it.
It was a whole group. The whole group went. It was like a winery tour, and we trained for 4 days.
Bet she didn't train in those 4 days by the sounds of it.
Hey, I was on a break.
It was 10 years ago.
I was on leave.
The schedule was a little less back then. And training at the nets in the back corner of Eden Park, like these balls it was almost like they swung more. They got smoother and swung more the more you bowled.
Yeah.
Because you weren't hitting to the side wickets and that sort of thing. And all of a sudden it did that during the game. Like, I don't know if that's what Bolty found in the first innings. He would have played a lot more cricket there, but he swung around corners and knocked us all over. I was one of those wickets. And then, it was almost like I changed ends at one point, and the ball just it felt like it swung more 10 overs in. And then I got a couple past the bat, and got a bit close, and then Paddy got hit 15 metres over his head for 6.
Had to slide that one in. Just on the crowd, like how you said you're on top of you. Hads, even though he was out in the middle most of the game, he says that he learnt more about what his parents got up to in their spare time off a bunch of strangers than he ever has before. Was it similar for you? Because I can only presume you're out there. Because the Kiwis, they come across as this chilled out bunch of people. You know, blah,
You
blah.
play sport against them.
Get a couple of Castle Lagers into them and they turn into rabid bogans. Correct?
Ooh.
Well,
Correct?
It's not wrong. It was like that in the test matches last year too, at Christchurch and Wellington.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was the first time I've been in New Zealand, and I remember fondly because we got off the plane on the bus and we're driving. I don't even know where we stayed in the middle of town near the casino, whatever. And we're in the bus and we stopped with this set of lights, and there's this bloke walking across the other side of the road to us. And he's looked over and he's seen the bus. And all of a sudden he's gone, "G'day, mate."
Double middle finger for everyone listening at home.
Seeing the Aussie boys on the bus, and then double bird. Cheers. Welcome to New Zealand. And then didn't get much better in the crowd after that.
No,
Okay.
they're bad though, because we were talking about the story this morning that other close game at Eden Park where Marcus Stoinis almost got us over the line. They were 9 down, and then Josh got run out. I was sitting in the Auckland members area that day with a couple of the Kiwis, and they obviously knew I was an Aussie. And so as soon as New Zealand were on top, I was getting slated from everywhere. Like all corners of the members department were pointing at me, sledging me, and then Stoin got past 100. It looked like he was going to win the game. They went quiet, like dead quiet, and I was like up and about. I'm like, we're on the way here, and then obviously Josh got run out, and I got slated on the way out again. But I was like, yeah, you're very fair weather, aren't you? When you're up and about, you know you're on top.
It looked much the same in that World Cup game though, because they were flying, and then there was a few wickets, and they were still up and about.
Yeah.
I think they only needed about 7 or 8. No, it might have been 7 down. So they were up and about, and then a couple of wickets fell, and they were 9 down, and it went quiet.
Yeah, the crowd over there is slightly more knowledgeable, whereas when you go and play in like India or the subcontinent, they're just like rooting for their team the whole time, and their players, and they're like, here we go, we're in the contest no matter what. Whereas in New Zealand, they're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And they go quiet.
Just on that day at Eden Park,
Yeah.
you would have loved the finish to the game. How'd you find it?
I was there the whole time. I sadly... There's no way to tell this story without lobbing someone in it. But somebody, I will say, I was there with a couple of other people, and somebody wanted to leave because it looked like Australia were going to lose, and they wanted to get back to the hotel quickly to avoid the traffic. And I said, well, I'm not letting you go by yourself, being a good human.
Yeah.
I'll come with you. That's fine, no worries. And here I am sitting in the cab watching it on my phone on the way home going, oh, I just missed like one of the best endings to a game ever. But it's all right.
Did you know after that one that you'd get them if you met them again during the tournament? I mean, it's easy to say now because you did.
It is easy to say now. I do remember a lot of it was actually led by Hads. That fact that so we obviously went to play them over. They were in the same group, same side. So we had to play them in New Zealand. We played the rest of our games in Australia. They played all their games in New Zealand, and obviously had to play the final in Melbourne. I think only 2 of their players had ever played at the MCG before the final.
Sure.
And the grounds in Australia are nearly double in size. So I remember Hads was like, oh, we'll almost piss it in, right? Like, we got them covered if they have to play in Australia. And then this is going back to, are you friendly off field, yada, yada, yada. We had to stay in the same hotel for the final. And I remember going to breakfast one day, I think you were there one morning, and Brad was like, hated the fact that we had to be in the same hotel.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
But then the Kiwis were so like super friendly around the hotel at breakfast, come up and say hello to everyone. How you going? How's the family? Hads hated it. And then absolutely dusted him in the final. So he's happy chappy. We remember still being on the rooftop of the hotel at sun up with Hads and the boys still in our kit with a trophy, and good 6 weeks.
Yeah. So you felt good after that loss, if it was possible?
Well,
even though you had a chance in the last over to pull off an incredible win.
Yeah, it's never fun losing, but it was a different makeup to how the World Cups are played now, or the One Day World Cup anyway. So that was obviously 2 groups. I think we felt that the only team that could really knock us off or after that game, was probably South Africa, and we didn't have to play him because the Kiwis dusted him at Eden Park in the semis. So we didn't have to play South Africa at all. Now, obviously, we play everyone in One-Day World Cups, so it's a bit different. But yeah, I think there was such a gap between games during that World Cup that it was a lot of fun as a group, and barring that one game, we played a pretty flawless tournament, I thought.
Absolutely, especially the final. And just on the final, I don't want to stretch it out too much, but some things in life you experience and you can remember shutter by shutter things happening. I don't know if your innings in a World Cup final is like that, or it's all a blur. I'm not sure. Eels, what is it? Or you just can
carry on with your question.
She just remembers Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Of the final, yeah. That. Oh no,
I don't even remember playing cricket. Yeah.
That long ago. Yeah. But do you remember a certain delivery that you bowled to Brendan McCullum in that sense, or is it just a blur and something you can look up on YouTube and go, oh yeah, that was pretty good?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. It is a blur.
It's his screensaver.
Nah.
I don't know what to believe.
Definitely isn't. Gee whiz. Come on.
It's probably Ads's.
Yeah.
93,000 people going Burko.
That is as loud as I've ever played in front of. Certainly at the MCG. I mean, it's a blur, but I remember the third ball of the game because Guptill faced up and he might have been .1, then third ball to Baz. And we talked about it before the game with Craig McDermott. It's like bowl Yorkers because Baz is hitting everyone out of the ground. He wants to take it on. Let's see if we bowl a couple of good Yorkers to him, see what happens, basically. And the first one missed by a bee's pecker. And I certainly thought, I think a couple of us thought, it's Baz's day. Like, he's going to have all the luck. He'll blaze away and get 100. And had another crack. He charged me and it missed leg stump. And then the third one, lucky missed another one and got bowled. And apparently I ran down to find leg to where Josh was, but I guarantee I was only at the circle. So there was a lot of carry on, but got caught up in the scenes.
Yeah. You didn't get there late. You were stuck in
traffic.
I
was there watching. And
she's playing golf.
On
the golf course.
I wish.
The fourth.
No, I was watching there. I was sitting there and I was like, that's by far still the loudest crowd roar I've ever heard in live sport. And like, I've never been to an AFL grand final down there, like where Collingwood's playing, because I'd imagine that would be really loud, but that was still by far the loudest thing I've heard at a sporting event. It was cool. Best
celebration you've had to win a match?
The wicket or the...
No, the 5 days that followed.
Yeah. First and only. I mean, the girls carried on after this. Sasha's just happened, so... No,
we laughed, and I don't know if I told this story on Willow Talk, but we're avid back page watchers, and we love the back page. God love them. Anyway, I happened to be on the rooftop still with them when the sun came up because, one in, all in, even though I wasn't playing in the game. And I think it was Lauren Wood, who works for down there for one of the newspapers, was telling a story when she was walking to work that day and heard the ruckus at the top of the Langham Hotel. That then she was like, clearly the boys are still up there partying. And I've seen her since and I've been like, yeah, that was us.
Yeah.
That was still me. That was still us, still sitting up there. You were still in kit holding the trophy. It was fun.
Yeah. George Bailey dropped it allegedly.
Yeah.
He didn't drop it.
Good memories. Secret Cricket Club, let's rattle through these. Thank you for your questions on Instagram. Willow Talk on Instagram. And Lloyd asked, what are the chances you tell the Aussies to call you up if you make the finals, since you're the man that never loses the finals? No, you're done. You got your next fortnight.
I haven't bowled in 2 weeks, a week and a half. Nah, the boys have got it covered. They'll be right.
Lee John asks, Pup, Smudge, Pat, captain, I guess he's asked preferred playing under the most. I don't know how, if you could change the word preferred to something else, I'm not sure, but the subtle differences between the two, three, perhaps?
Yeah, they're all very different. They're all very different in their way, all very good in their own way. I have thoroughly enjoyed playing with Pat as captain. And that's not to say that he's better than the other two. I think it's just a point of difference being a bowler and having that empathy for the bowlers and knowing what a long day in the dirt can be like. And I think he's a great delegator too. He works really well with Smudge. Smudge's still a huge thinker of the game. I think we saw in Sri Lanka, he's still very, very good captain in his own right. Yeah, Pat's been great since he's taken over.
Yeah, the empathy you mentioned there was lacking that day when Steve Smith said to the press that the bowlers didn't aim up in a Champions League Champions Trophy game. And then you gave it to him in the nets, which you have explained already here on Willow Talk once upon a time.
I'm not bouncing Pat.
No, smart move. Tom asks, would you play as the left-arm pie chucker who runs the drinks for the Napa Valley Cricket Club?
Actually, I haven't had this conversation with Mitch
you
about
haven't
my Napa
enlightened him?
Valley trip. No, I've told him I'm looking for cricket in the winter and that Napa Valley have come calling. So
Pretty sure I was described in that message to you as only being a net bowler. So if Tom wants some...
And a drinks carrier. No, it's a dual role.
Yeah, but if Tom wants to face a few around the nose,
Calm down.
They won't be left arm pie chuckers. They'll be. I might bowl like Brett Lee and bowl 15 metres over the front line at your freaking nose. How about that?
Well, it's fair to say you won't be going business class if Tom is inviting you over.
A net bowler, you reckon?
Settle down. You don't need to play. They're 60-year-old men. Why are you picking on them?
I'd love to go stand behind the stumps.
Oh, okay. So you're just a bit salty that you didn't get invited to
100%.
be the opening bat.
I wasn't even invited to be part of the conversation of being a part of the 11.
Napa Valley, you're on one.
This is the trip to Guadalajara, by the way, and you're visiting the town of Tequila.
Yep.
I heard that.
Nico's coming as media manager.
I heard that it was a science trip to test out if Corona are better.
Tastes better in Mexico.
Tastes better in Mexico than okay. I was privy to the information.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shame you'll be in Delhi playing IPL, but anyway, can't have it all. Josh asks, how does your brother go at cricket, Brandon?
How does my brother go at cricket? Well, back when I was a lot younger, my junior club, we had too many players for one team, not enough for two. So I was always part of the smaller group. Dad was involved in the club. So we had two younger brothers help out to make up 11. Brandon was part of that, playing 4 years above his age group, and had a few batting partnerships with him, and he had a crack, and then that was obviously a bit much. He had a go at his own age group, and then it was running about the same time as Little Athletics, and that's he enjoyed that a lot more. So
Saturday mornings.
Yeah, so he went with the Athletics and is now been to a few Olympic Games.
Who would done very well. Who would you say would be better at the opposite heels? You can be the judge here.
Oh.
Would Mitch be a better high jumper than Brandon would be a cricketer?
Brandon would be a better cricketer than Mitch would be at high jump.
I got to 190.
You're 197. You could have just stepped over it.
Have you ever tried to do high jump?
Do you reckon she's... I'll speak for her here. Do you reckon she's...
I actually did do high jump, thank you very much.
What'd you
and I won.
meter 10?
Yeah, probably. I was well above
step over that.
I was well above average in my age group. No, I've seen Brandon jump on the trampoline and his athleticism like in a bounding sport. So I'm going to go with Brandon at cricket. Sorry.
No, I probably don't doubt that.
Thank you.
Harsh questions here from James, the famous sledge, going way back when. I think it's referring to, what's it like being the Mark Waugh of the family, e.g. second best?
I've heard it for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm starting to... It's not even second best in it, so it's like I'm either second best to Elisa or I'm like third best in the family. And then I remember one, it might have been New Zealand even. Or, no, it was in Adelaide in the test match against India. Someone asked... he referred to Brandon. It's like, how's it feel being Brandon's brother? Something like that. I was down at fine leg. So, no, it's like I'm second best. And to this peanut across the table, I'm not sure how you compare bowlers to keepers, but sure. It's fine. I'm fine with it.
He's like fourth best in the household. The 3-year-old nephew's an athlete already, so we're all struggling. We're hanging on.
Jamison asks, how much marine biology chat goes around home with our would-be...
Well, Mitch's sister is a marine biologist, so there is a bit, actually, at family gathering. And her partner's also a marine biologist, so there's a fair bit.
Just doesn't involve Elisa.
Yeah.
Could have. Hey, if she stuck with it. If you missed the earlier episode this week, it was the fact that Elisa was enrolled in a marine biology course and didn't finish.
Do you remember any
We'll get
of it?
there. Yep.
Actually?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
All of it.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favourite sport to watch outside of cricket, Lucas?
Golf and the AFL footy.
Okay.
Watch a lot of golf between us. Much prefer watching the AFL at the game, but winter season is a great time to watch sport.
On that, Mo asks, where are GWS finishing this season?
Top 4.
Grand final. I'll get there.
Okay.
Start
It's
before
just
final
about-
series, come on top 4 then.
I've tried to work this one out as well. Tom asks, where are you
Mhm.
going to play your 100th test? Because as it stands right now, if you play them all,
Kingston, Jamaica.
it'll be the 3rd test on the Windies tour.
Jamaica.
Cool with that?
100's 100, isn't it?
101's 101.
Yeah.
That'll be the
If I can get to
Gabba?
if I get that
Yeah.
far, then yeah.
Perth, Gabba.
Perth.
Perth first, yeah.
Perth first.
I'm
I think you'll be there. I think you'll make it somehow. You're almost there. You'll get there. Pretty cool
yeah,
achievement. by
100's
the way.
100. Doesn't matter where it is, does it?
Yeah. You going?
Yep.
Schedule's clear. You won't be in Napa Valley.
Apparently,
We'll
it should
see.
be.
I might be in
drinking
Guadalajara,
Coronas.
so I might have to just see if they do a flight.
Family going to go over for that one? 100?
I wouldn't suggest it. The West Indies is one of the hardest places to go to and from.
Yeah.
And,
Only takes 42 hours to get there
if you're
quickly.
lucky.
Yeah.
The last time I went for the World Cup took me 3 days. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Really talking it up.
Mm.
Felix asks, what's your favourite wicket to bowl on?
Good question. Favorite wicket to bowl on? Adelaide, I think in Australia, not just the favorite wicket to bowl on. Helps that it's pink ball, doesn't it?
Mm.
But the all-round player experience or the fan experience, that's a great test match. Good wicket. It's always even contest between bat and ball. Elsewhere, maybe Lords. Australia's had a lot of success there.
Mm.
Does enough all the time.
Mm. Quite a test match last time you were there.
Definitely from the crowd.
Anush asks, who's your favourite roommate?
Well, we're fortunate that we don't have to have roommates these days.
Mm.
I do have a roommate from time to time when her schedule is clear from Australian duties.
Who is she?
Shield? Do you have to room in Shield?
Yes, yeah.
The odd
yeah.
occasion that you
Yeah.
play? Who'd you room with at the
Once a
MCG? Early this summer.
I had to babysit Nathan Lyon.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Best mates.
Mm.
You know each other. You're like an old married couple.
Yep.
He's very much babysitting, but yeah, I had him.
Oh, geez, Braden, what about this wide one? Mount Rushmore,
Spit it out.
Mount Rushmore of bowlers, the 4 best.
Jeez.
Oh, you're going to upset someone
God, we're
here.
going to be here for an hour.
Okay, Hazelwood, Cummins, Lyon. Who else?
Bowling.
Boland. There you go.
Yeah, go.
Well, they're calling for a statue for Scotty basically every ground in Australia, so why not
Yeah.
add him to Mount Rushmore?
He's going okay, Scotty Boland, isn't he?
He's a cracker.
Is he?
Cracker. What you see is what you get.
Doesn't
And he's
seem...
got a great golf swing too.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Okay, it fits in well.
Plays at one of the great golf courses down in Victoria,
Yeah.
Peninsula Kingswood.
But-
Can't wait to play there.
Doesn't look like the loudest guy in the room.
No, he's not. He's a very modest, shy character, and I think that comes across in his post-match.
Mm.
But that's very much him. He's
That's him. There's
quiet,
no...
collected, offers when he needs to.
Mm.
He's one of the greats.
There's no bot Scolan that breaks out when behind
No.
closed doors. There's no... Oh,
No.
It's a shame.
No, he's not as vocal as Sammy Constas.
Yeah. Well, we almost got through a whole episode without
Yeah,
mentioning
thanks,
his name.
mate.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Got it in there.
No.
Yeah. We're
trying to leave the poor kid alone.
Yeah, just he's 19.
Yeah.
He'll work it out.
He's 19. We won't go, oh, what's he really like?
You
Cooker,
better get to this one.
Cooker asks, who's the better golfer? You or Heels?
Actually, who's
I was going to say out of the three
the top
of us,
3 in this group? I
Mm,
think it goes
that's
1, 2, 3.
you're definitely one.
Bad luck.
Who's got the best handicap in the room off the Blues? Not the Reds.
We only get 2 extra shots, so be about the same as yours.
True.
She's definitely playing a better golf out of the three of us.
Yes.
And I'm currently soft capped, so that'll explain that.
Judging by your Miss 3-footer and my thinking of about an 18-footer, gonna go with me.
And I look across and he's using a broomstick putter.
And he left it
not
6
a
foot short.
It is for her.
It is for most
for
people.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone else it is. But who? She's got you covered?
Yep, easily.
We even went to mini golf the other day and I came second there, but Brandon won that too. So Brandon's
I
clearly
got you
the
at the
golfer
short
in the
tees the other
family.
day.
Savvy asks, any chance of you switching nations and playing for Greece or Italy? He's gone through the family tree here.
Well,
Czech
I'm not
don't
from
have a
either
team.
of those places.
No, have you got family background from there?
Nope.
The Czechoslovakians don't have a cricket
So
team.
that's what
that I
Starc
know
is.
of.
Yeah.
Is it
Good
short
try
for
with-
something? Starc?
I think back in the day it was Starkovic.
Yeah.
Good
But it's-
tennis players,
It's
though.
not Greece or Italy. It would have been for Slovenia or Slovakia.
We'll leave that to the Moscas.
Okay.
Yeah.
The what?
Sorry,
The Moscas.
they play for Italy.
Yes, that's right. Hey, I saw them on the front driveway.
Yeah.
Odd to note that it was a concrete driveway as well.
They wore it down first.
Concrete outfield as well. Dear. Hamish asks, what's the favourite Yorker you've ever bowled? Far out. Well, I think
Can
we've
we
described
name
it. Yeah,
Go
I
on.
think we've described it on this.
My most favourite delivery I've seen him bowl, and I'm probably missing 1,000, the Jarks Callis in the Big Bash when you were a youngster with all the hair. That was one of the best balls I've seen.
Backhanded compliment if I've ever heard one.
Sledge at the end
Yeah.
there on the way through. Pat on the back and a clip on the ear on the
Yeah.
way through.
Yeah, cheers.
Was it not a good one?
That was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of my favourites. That was cool.
You take it?
He's probably top 10, yeah.
Oh,
No,
we'll go through
I'd
the
say
team.
between the Baz one in the World Cup final or the Stokes one at Lords in
Mm.
the World
Yeah.
Cup.
Anytime you make a batter drop their bat.
Mm.
Yep.
So your nieces, nephews, kids, if they're in the future and they do like cricket, what do you want them to be? Keeper or a fast bowler? Or a batter because they don't do anything.
A +7 handicap.
Yeah.
So I can carry the bag.
You want your Saturday mornings off, don't you?
I want to go and play those golf courses.
No, yeah, you don't want to be standing at square leg on a Saturday morning. You want to be going to play on a golf course somewhere.
They can
with your
play
kid.
whatever sport they would like
Yeah.
to play, and I'll be happy for them.
Oh, that's the politically
That's
correct
what he
answer
says at
from
home.
Mitchell Starc right there. Let's get into sundries, and thank you for all those Secret Cricket Club questions. We'll rattle through sundries right now. Steve Smith signs for the Welsh Fire in the 100. His first time playing in the competition. The team is coached by Mike Hussey. Speaking of men who have two personalities, I've heard.
Yeah.
Michael. And this is running from the 5th of August to the 31st of August. Australia is set to play 3 one-days and 3 T20s against South Africa in Northern Australia, but the dates and venues have yet to be confirmed, so it's a wait and see perhaps on that one, talking about schedule clashes earlier on. But Stephen, just pretty keen to see the world, it
Yeah,
seems.
that's the second time he's signed for the 100.
Mm-hmm.
Not the first.
So, but is he going to play this time?
Don't know. I was meant to play with him at the Welsh Fire the first year.
Neither of them went.
Yeah, it was COVID.
Oh.
Pretty
Calm
hard
down.
to get there. Ben Stokes won't be playing in the 100 as he manages his fitness for the Ashes series. He'll bowl in the
Fair
Ashes.
enough.
They want him to
he's
bowl.
he's got to be at full fitness, I think, for that team to come out here and do well. And there's a lot of pressure on that environment at the moment to come and succeed. So he's doing everything he can to be here, which is cool.
You will be seeing Matthew Mott, Mitchell, at the IPL because the former Australian women's coach, former England white ball coach who's helping out the Sydney Sixers this summer, he is a new assistant coach for the Delhi Capitals. Who's your head coach over there?
Badani.
Okay.
I'm intrigued to see the how the off-field relationship goes between Matthew Mott and one Elisa Healy.
What was that? The
Oh,
trouble?
They're the same personalities.
Okay.
We clash a little bit. It's fun.
Yeah, but you're not the coach, so you stay out of it, mate.
No. Our golf group's building. It's building beautifully. We've not got a group of 4. I reckon we've got a group of 8 now. It's great.
I do wonder if listener needs to spin off and do some kind of golf podcast.
Well, I was just saying, like, we need to rename
Sammy.
Willow Talk into something else, but yeah, it has become just golf
Yeah, exactly.
jargon.
And if you're not a golfer, I know people who aren't golfers, and you start talking about literally their eyes glaze
Yeah.
over. They could not be more bored if you brought up any other topic. So
You
sorry.
either have the bug or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll get there. They'll grow up one day.
Speaking of bugs, shout out to Brad Haddon. A cricket page in Australia, Code Cricket, who I used to work for, not anymore, Code Sports, put up a post saying you can't pick and choose where you play and where you're not going to play. It makes a farce of these tournaments. So said Pat Cummins about the Champions Trophy, apparently. Pat replied on Twitter instantly saying, I've definitely never said this.
I think a little miscommunication there. They've quoted 2 separate people and put it in a one quote together.
A mashup.
A mashup. Yep. It's,
Exactly. You do it with songs and make a floor filler. Got there eventually.
Maybe they thought Pat wasn't on Twitter and would never see it, but clearly Pat was onto it. So
I don't know if he's on
good
Twitter.
on him. Someone's told him.
I think one N Maxwell might have alerted him to it. His agent Neil Maxwell.
But these quotes happen all the time. I love it. Just people put a few quotation marks around something that they want to come out and put a name to it and go, "That's a quote."
Just FYI, a lot of these quotes come from Willow Talk, so just be careful.
No, I've seen plenty of Willow Talk ones, and they're not the ones from random people in the subcontinent that want to say something and just put your name on it.
The one you got to be careful in the future is AI, like making a video of you saying something.
We've seen them.
Yeah, exactly. Shane Watson hit 100 in a Masters League game, although Australia posted 216. They lost by 7 wickets to the West Indies after a dominant 94 from Lendl Simmons.
But did he ramp the third ball of the game? That's what we want to know. We need footage.
Can you see yourself playing Masters one day?
Not a chance. When I'm retired, I'm retired.
We have got to the end of a marathon session here on Willow Talk. A 6-page rundown. It's a big episode when 6 pages hit you. Ladies, gentlemen, good luck with your golf. Good luck with your cricket. Good luck with having good luck.
Miss your Hads.
Yeah, we India Hads.
We miss Hads. Back next week with more Willow Talk. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.